Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy for Now. It's me, Isabel, here with a recommendation video for you. Now this could apply to a lot of readathons, I feel like, or other prompts, or just general thing you could read. I don't know. I asked in the Amazing Readathon Discord, in the romance chat, I said, what prompt are y'all struggling with? And I do have plans for a rec video for every single bonus prompt, specifically. So I am going to do one of those. That will be coming to you at the end of May, like the 28th-ish is right now the plan. So know that now. You are getting that video. But one of the prompts that I got asked, this was the first one posted, which is how I picked, was books with names in the title. And I was like, oh my goodness, I actually have a ton of these and I have some manga recommendations. So it's perfect. And I felt like, again, this is a prompt I've seen for other readathons. So like, it's a fun one. And I feel like there's a lot of books with this option. So let's dive in. If you are unfamiliar and you're watching this in May and you want to participate in the Amazing Readathon, I will link to Bree's video down below for you. If you're watching this and it's not May or it's like very early June, you still definitely have time to join us. But either way, this is definitely a rec video, I think, that I could see people watching at other times during the year too. So there's that. But let's dive right in. We're going to start off with my romance books, of course. And I do have 4 of those. Well, 4 different. Some of these are series, so 4 of those. And I also have a non-romance option that I quite enjoyed. So first up is the Loose Ends series from Rebecca Weatherspoon. So this one is such a great option because you have Rafe, you have Zenny, you have Megan, and Duke is coming out soon. I think it comes out in June, so you could technically read it for the readathon as well. I'm just saying, 3 books already with this. It also features such amazing relationships in these books. I love them so much. Rafe is a buff male nanny book. This book took off a few years ago, and if you somehow have not read it, I don't know what you're doing with your life, to be honest with you. Rafe is fantastic. Rafe is the book that turned me into a hardcore Rebecca Weatherspoon fan, and it follows a male nanny who ends up nannying for a surgeon, fancy doctor lady, her 2 twins, and it's so cute and sweet. And he's like a live-in nanny, and then they end up hooking up, and fantastic. Zenny is a marriage of convenience. I believe they're both bisexual, the heroine and hero in this one. There's pegging, and basically they have to get married so she can inherit what was gifted to her from her aunt's death. And he needed to marry her for some reason too, and I can't remember why, but either way, it's marriage of convenience to falling in love. Fantastic time. They're so sweet and fun together, and it's really great because, like, as you read this series, you are following people we've met in other books that Rebecca's written, but you don't have to have read all these other books. And then last we have Megan, which is probably so far the spiciest one in all 3 of this set. And Megan follows our girl Megan, who ends up dating a autistic billionaire hero who is like very open to exploring things with her. He has a Batman room, which I loved. I am all for nerdy heroes with like geeky rooms like that, like not just video games, but like collectibles and stuff, right? So she ends up dating him. She's into the BDSM scene and has been in a lot of other books that Rebecca has written, like her Beards and Bondage series begins in that. Anyways, we follow Megan's romance here with our hero, whose name I cannot remember, and I'm not going to Google it. I could, but I'm not going to. So we follow that, and during this romance, it's just really fun. He kind of starts wish fulfillment for her, and they do a lot of scenes and different things, and there's a lot of talk about like adapting to his needs and her desires, and like so good. He also has a really cute dog, so that's a win. All 3 of these are fantastic. I can't recommend them enough. I really feel like if you somehow haven't read Rafe, you probably could get some of these other ones to fit for other prompts too. Next we have the Them Boys novellas by Alexandria House. I recently just caught up on these. These are, I believe the audios are on Hoopla and Everand, so that's a great option if you are an audiobook reader. They're really well narrated. Book 1 is Set in Them Boys, and I really liked Set's book. I would say Set and Shu. I think Set and Shu were my favorite of these 3, but these are really great shorter novellas to read. I mean, they're like all under 120 pages. These are so fun because we get just very different like setups. So book 1 is a chance encounter with a night of passion to a mutually beneficial agreement. But of course, love creeps in. This follows a MILF getting it back, right? Like she's figuring herself back out and getting boned down real good. And then we have Ja, which is book 2. Neither of them are looking for love in this one. This does have cheating. So like book 2 is the one that I think isn't going to work for the most people, and kind of why I didn't love book 2. I loved our characters. I just didn't really love the storyline and the time jumping personally in this one. And last but not least, we have Shu, which I really enjoyed. This is an HCAP romance and very insta-lovey and fun. But like, again, it's a novella. It's got to be insta-lovey. So yeah, this is a really great option for those of you wanting like a fun, short series to read. And I do think you probably could apply some of these to other prompts pretty easily. Okay, next we have, of course, the Bright Falls series by Ashley Herring Blake, which means Delilah Green doesn't care, Ashton Parker doesn't fail, and Iris Kelly... Oh my god, what is Iris Kelly's book called? Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. So, this series for me was really good. I love this series. I think it's such a fun option. It is also going to get you some bonus points in the readathon if you're participating. But either way, if you somehow haven't picked these up, I think they're just so much fun. Delilah Green follows a sister's best friend and the sister falling in love. Delilah processing a lot of trauma and all these things. Delilah Green's probably my favorite of this trio of books, personally. She's just kind of still figuring it out. She's lost her dad. She's struggled through life because of that and had already lost her mom. Gone through a lot of changes, a lot of struggle with her identity and living in this small town. So yeah, fantastic. Her sister's curvy friend Claire ends up being her love interest. Coming back years later, she doesn't recognize Delilah, and lo and behold, they hook up, and it's fantastic also. So there's that. And then we have Ashton Parker Doesn't Fail. This is like a home reno HGTV situation, which is really interesting. I thought this was really fun. I did enjoy this one a lot, and both of them are like trying to prove themselves in this one a lot, which was interesting. And then last but not least, Iris Kelly Doesn't Date was also delightful. Again, I had a good time with this still, with all of these. And this one follows our final friend in the friend group finding her love interest and all these things. We had a lot more variety in the LGBT community on this one, which I really, really enjoyed. And I really liked Iris. Like, I think Iris was such an interesting character because she really just like didn't want to date. She just wanted to hook up with people and move on because she was tired of heartbreak, basically. So really, really enjoyed that. But again, if you're gonna pick one, at least try Delilah. So Axel follows our Swedish hockey hero, and he has left the league to come play for the Carolina Reapers. And the only reason he agrees to it is because he has gotten Langley Pierce, their PR person, to basically fake date him / fake be married to him for 6 months. And he's like been in love with her for a long time. And that, I don't know what it is about that setup, but that is like a book nip for me, you know? Like I had to read it. I had to know. Like, I'm in. I ended up really enjoying this way more than I expected to when I read it. This is a member's pick a little while ago. But it's really, really fun. He also has a younger brother who he's been caring for because they don't have parents. Like, they've lost their parents. And his care for his younger brother and choices he has to make are really, really precious. But also him, like, slowly having to confess to Langley that, oh yeah, I've been in love with you forever is, like, top tier. I love those kinds of moments. Basically, once they get married, the countdown starts and he's trying to convince her to stay with him at the end of this. But yeah, I just can't wait. Like, it's just it's one of those things where you're reading it and you just like can't get over it because it's so freaking fun. I also really liked Asher, which is what got me to go back and read this series because Asher is about the owner of this hockey team. This one is another fun one. She is a romance author who was writing a hockey book or a billionaire book or something, and one of her friends is like, yeah, you should shadow him, he'll do it. And she starts shadowing him and he's like, why do I like her? And he's like kind of reading the book over her shoulder, and yeah, he just like thinks she's gonna be quiet and all these things, and she's like a hurricane into his life. And I love a buttoned up hero when a lover enters their life and just turns it into like a storm, and they're just like, I don't even know how to handle this. This was great. It also had a great like family being mean like defense situation, which I also am a sucker for. So yeah, highly recommend both of those by Samantha Whiskey. All right, and then last but not least, my non-romance recommendation for this is a murder mystery situation, and that would be Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murders by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is so fun. It is one of those books that I just like kind of devoured in a day easily. I feel like it's a year old now. You could probably get it pretty easily from the library if you wanted to read it. And it's just like a very quirky murder mystery. So it follows a woman in her 60s who wakes up to find a dead body in her tea shop. And she like outlines the body. The cops are like, "What are you doing?" And all these things. Like, it's so funny. And it's so good. And then it like has this really wonderful found family element as she attempts to solve this murder. And the cops are like, "Please stop." And she's like, "No, I'm not stopping." Yeah, it was fantastic. I really loved this. I think this is a great option to pick up during this readathon for this prompt. Even if you're wanting a genre break, I think this is just a very accessible, like, cozy mystery thriller situation. I don't know the genre. Don't ask me those questions. I can tell you something's romance. Everything else, I'm like, it's a book. All right, let's talk about manga real quick. I've got 4 recommendations for you in the manga category for this prompt. So first things first, Yona of the Dawn is my default recommendation for this. Yona of the Dawn is one of my all-time favorite manga series. I, in fact, will most likely be reading Yona of the Dawn for this prompt, or one of the other ones I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But Yona of the Dawn is a epic fantasy romance series. There is over 40 volumes out in the States now. It's pretty popular, so you very easily could get it at your library most likely. And if not there, you can definitely find it at the bookstore. But Yona of the Dawn follows a girl, Yona, this princess who watches her father be murdered, goes on the run with her bodyguard, Hawk, and it is their slow burn romance. And also her finding all of these dragons, because she's destined to find the 4 dragons that are going to help her save the world, maybe. Change the world? Yes. So I absolutely loved Yona of the Dawn. I really can't wait to get caught up on it here, but I highly, highly recommend for this prompt. Next is Defying Kurosaki-kun. This is on Comixology Unlimited /KU, I believe. So this is an easy option if you want a quick read. I personally really had a fun time with this one. So far, I've not finished it completely, but this is like a angsty high school setting manga. So you're looking at a shoujo romance. Okay, so she goes to this new high school and runs into Kurosaki-kun and kind of has messed up things at this house and the rules, and he's like, "I demand obedience from you." And he is kind of like the person everyone's afraid of at the school. So we follow their like move from like enemies kind of to love friendship situation. It's pretty cute. It's pretty fun. It's very readable. So it's a great option. Then we have Why Ray Liana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion. And this was I've not finished this one yet either. And I really liked the anime though. So like I'm excited to finish it and read it like physically. This is a really fun one. This is an isekai, so they're transported to a different world. And she is transported into like a video game. And she knows what's going to happen, that she's going to die. So she is trying to fight her way to be in this Duke's Mansion to survive the plot of the story, basically. So it's really, really fascinating, and I think it's one of those ones that works really, really well. It's a quick read. They're full color. It's full color because technically it's a manhwa, so you possibly could read volume 1 on an app somewhere if you don't want to pick it up physically. So yeah, this is like a great option in my opinion for this prompt, and it's really interesting, the world and the setup here. And then last but not least is another fantasy romance that I have for you, and that is Nina the Starry Bride. This is one that recently started coming out physically, so like I think we're only up to 2 or 3 volumes out physically, so it's a great option for you to pick up if you're in the market for a fantasy romance. This follows Nina, who is living on the streets, and it gets picked up by the prince because she looks like the missing princess. And basically she has these very like specific eyes and stuff, and is then going to be like a big key in this political like happenings here in this not village, in this country. And she has to pretend and learn to be the princess. So in doing that, we enter into a lot of mischief, a lot of intrigue, a lot of danger happens, a lot of reveals. Again, it's a very Yona of the Dawn-esque, but I would consider this a much faster paced story than Yona of the Dawn. Yeah, and I freaking love it. So this is also very likely one that I might read for this prompt. So there we go. Okay, that is everything I have for you today on recommendations. Let me know in the comments if you have any recommendations for books with a character name in the title, because I love to hear them. I did leave off some popular ones, of course, here. I was trying to give you all some that you maybe haven't heard of. But yeah, I would love to know that in the comments if you have any recs for this prompt, for this kind of thing. And if you don't want to do any of that, you can leave me a pen or pencil emoji of your choice in the comments. And I will have links to all these books for you down below, links to my friend anywhere on the internet, and I will see y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away.